Hey y'all, it's Leah. Welcome back to my series on creating an ideas book filled with different junk journal element templates that we can refer to in the future. It's good to be back. It's been a little while since I've done one of these, had lots of things going on, and so I'm excited to be making one of these again. So today we're going to be doing this fun double pocket. It is made just out of one piece of 8.5 by 11 scrapbook paper and single-sided, so stuff that most of us have laying around, and it is just really cute and has lots of different options of how you can decorate it. So when you open it up, this one I have connected with a Velcro dot to open that one, and so we've got a pocket here, and I just have some little pieces in here. All of my decorations come from Timeless Scraps, and I will link below. I will link her Ko-fi shop below. I'm on her design team, so you can get a discount on any of her pieces if you use my code. And then for this one, I did this belly band going across and have this little ticket, and the ticket just kind of goes over the flap, so that one keeps that flap closed. And so then we have more little pieces here. You can do it. The original video that I will link below, she had a ribbon that wraps around with like a little buckle. I didn't have any of those buckles, and so I was like, okay, how else can I make my flaps stay closed? So, and then the way I glued it, you also have a pocket here. I didn't put anything in here just because of the way that I glued this one with the Velcro dot, and in this I like kind of the clean finish that it has here, but you could definitely, depending on what you put in here, you can put more things in this pocket, and then when you glue it on your page, you can also glue it just on the three sides and have a pocket here, or you could glue it here and have a side pocket. So lots of different options to have tons of pockets for this one. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with this. So all we need again is one piece of paper, and the measurements are really kind of eyeballed. I'm just using my mat to eyeball my where I'm folding everything. It's really not a big deal as far as, because it will work no matter how you do it. If you want a very particular size, then yes, you want your measurements to be very precise, but most people are like, yeah, I want it about that big. So what I'm going to do is fold it over this way, and you want to fold from with your back facing up. And so I'm just going to fold at 1.5. So I'm just kind of eyeballing. That's going to be about here. And so give that a good crease. You can use your bone folder if you've got one, or a credit card or gift card. Back handle of scissors work well for that as well. And then your next one is at 5.5. And so I'm basically just going over, it's 3.5 inches, or 3 inches from the end. So we're going to do about there. And again, if you wanted it to be a little bit more narrow, you could definitely fold that over a little bit more. It is just however you want your finished one to look. Okay. And then we're going to get our glue. So for our glue, we're going to put 2 beads of glue. So we want one on the pattern side of this little strip, because you want to make sure that your whole thing is glued down. So you're just doing a real thin bead on that very edge, and then you want one on the white side of here, because it does have an overlap, and so you just want to make sure, because of the folds, you don't want any little flappy pieces. The way that it'll make sense once we are putting it all together. And so then we're just gonna glue that down, press that down. Okay, so now we are still working. Let me go ahead and cap this so that it doesn't get dry. My glue bottle has been drying out pretty quickly lately. Okay, so you want to work with the fold part facing you, or with the closure part facing you. So the first thing you're going to do is fold down this top half about 1 inch. So again, it is rough measurements. It's just depending on how big you want your flap to be. So again, I'm just kind of using my mat to eyeball it. And that one you definitely want to give a good press. And then you're going to take your scissors and you're just going to cut your angles. So the way I did it is I cut one, and then I'm going to transfer. I'm going to take that little piece and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to cut there. I'm going to save these pieces because we're going to repeat this process, and that way our flaps will be the same. Okay. And so for this part, we're going to fold the top part. So the top one is the one you want to keep because that's the one that's going to fold over. We want to get rid of this piece. So we're going to cut that. So again, you're cutting the part that has your, it's where it is joined. So we're cutting that part off. To the side. So now we have our little envelope pocket. Okay, so that's the first one. And we will go ahead and we're going to put a thumb notch in this just to make it a little bit easier to get things in. And the way that I am doing that, because I like to be able to see kind of where I'm putting my thumb notch. And because this part is so big, I need to kind of flip it around this way. And so again, I'm just eyeballing. Y'all know I like to just, I don't do a ton of measuring with things. It's rough. It works. Okay. And it's not really seen until you open it to pull your things out. Okay. So that's our first one. For our second one, we want to make sure that this is folded down. Okay. We're going to take our bottom piece and we're going to bring it up to where it's kind of meeting the top. And again, this is rough. You can do this. This doesn't have to be precise. So you can do it lower if you want kind of a more shallow pocket at the bottom. Okay. And then this time we're going to fold this part down and we're going to do about 1 inch. Okay. So I'm just making sure that this is on this mark, and then I kind of put my finger there, and then I can see that that's about 1 inch. Okay, give that a good fold. This is where we're going to grab our little corner, and I'm going to put that on there and cut that one. Take one of those and cut that one. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. So again, we want this top one, okay, to be our flap. Now, this one is different. This one, the top one, is the one that's folded. Okay, so try not to confuse yourself with that one, because the other one we cut off the folded, you know, the seam side. We're keeping the seam side for this one. We want to get rid of this flap. Okay, so we're going to cut that one off. Oh, hopefully I didn't cut my envelope. Oh my gosh. I knew I was going to do that. Okay, so I cut my envelope flap off because I cut too close. So be careful when you are doing that. I just put a piece of tape on there. Since this is going in my ideas book, I'm not too worried about it being perfect. It's just a sample of what's going on. So, and we all make mistakes. So there's my proof that I make mistakes on that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do our thumb notch on this one. Okay. And then you would do your inking on this. Definitely ink before you glue your flaps down if you're going to ink this top part. because otherwise I didn't do that on this one, and I got a little ink on there. Again, I make mistakes all the time, okay? So now all that is left is to glue this down. So we're going to put a little bead of glue. And this is just giving us that optional pocket. You don't have to use it. You can use it. You can always put something like real low in there to kind of keep it like a little hidden piece. And then you would decide however you want to close your flaps, and then however you want to decorate it. Okay. All right, let's get this stuff out of the way and get this into our book. So for our directions, we're taking an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. We're folding it at around 1.5 and 5.5, those marks. And then you glue it to make a roll. Make sure you're gluing on the two pieces, the two edges. Then you're going to fold that top down about 1 inch and then trim your corners. Cut your front flap, so that one that is kind of coming this way, be sure not to cut the back one. And then make your thumb notch there. And then bring that bottom one up to the bottom of the top flap and fold. And then you're repeating that process. And then glue your sides down to make your pocket, and then decorate however you would like. Okay, so let's get this in here. Thank y'all so much for watching and subscribing and liking. I really appreciate all of that. If you want to find more of my ideas, I do post a lot of my makes that don't actually get a video. I post those on a Facebook channel or Facebook group, or not group, page called Leah Lou's Creations. And so I would love for you to follow me on there. And so I will have that linked below. And I just appreciate all of the support and all of the comments. I love hearing from people and seeing what y'all are making and what you like. So thanks again for watching. See y'all next time. Bye.